Today is Wednesday, January 8th. From America First to America Expands. We'll tell you what President-elect Trump has to say about seizing new territory. Also, where homes are burning and tens of thousands of people are evacuating as a wildfire keeps growing. And investigators say there's a link between a cybertruck explosion and ChatGPT. We'll explain. Plus, Meta is ditching its fact-checking program. Many Americans' credit scores are getting a boost. And colleges are now helping students become influencers. Those stories and even more news coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The United States could get a much larger global footprint if President-elect Trump gets his way. This week, Trump said he would not rule out using military force to gain control of the Panama Canal and Greenland, and economic force to acquire Canada. He says it's all about national security and financial security for the U.S. But none of it would come easily. Outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau hit back at the suggestion of Canada joining the U.S. by saying there isn't, quote, a snowball's chance in hell. Greenland's prime minister put out a statement to say, quote, Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland. And Panama's foreign minister has said the ownership of the Panama Canal is not up for negotiation. Still, there are reports Trump has directed his team to start discussions now, even before he takes office. Trump also floated renaming the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. And at least one Republican in Congress has agreed to introduce a bill to make that happen. Stay tuned. President-elect Trump's agenda is already moving forward in Congress. The U.S. House passed its first bill of 2025, and it has to do with immigration enforcement. If it becomes law, the bill would make it so undocumented immigrants arrested for burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting would have to be put into federal custody. In other words, it broadens the list of charges that would subject migrants to being held and potentially deported. Also with this bill, state attorneys general would get the power to sue the U.S. Attorney General or Homeland Security Secretary if an immigrant who enters the U.S. illegally and gets released goes on to commit crimes. All Republicans in the House voted yes on this, along with 48 Democrats. Supporters say it will help make America safer. But some opponents say it doesn't make sense to ratchet up the number of mandatory detentions without also increasing funding. Others say the new category of arrests is too broad and innocent people could end up being detained. Either way, the bill now heads to the Senate, which is expected to take it up soon. Two powerful wildfires are now raging in Southern California. Tens of thousands of people have been told to evacuate, and some homes have already burned. One fire broke out near the Pacific Palisades neighborhood on the west side of Los Angeles. Then another erupted about an hour to the northeast, just north of Pasadena. They both sparked and spread during what the National Weather Service is calling a life-threatening and destructive windstorm in a region that hasn't seen significant rain since spring. The winds are so strong that firefighters aren't able to send aircraft to get a hold of the flames, making it much more challenging for crews on the ground. Plus, there are smaller fires that keep popping up, like one near Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. So the LA Fire Department asked for all off-duty staff to make themselves available. And that's the first time it's done that in 19 years. Thousands of people have lost power so far, and roads have shut down just as people have been racing to get out of the danger zones. The exodus caused such bad gridlock yesterday that some people just abandoned their vehicles in the middle of the road. Actor Steve Guttenberg was actually helping local officials yesterday, moving cars to make space for fire engines. Los Angeles and Ventura counties are still under the most dire fire warning issued by the National Weather Service, and it lasts until this afternoon. So remember we told you about the highly decorated soldier who exploded a cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas? Well, now police say he used ChatGPT to help plan the attack. Apparently, he looked into the amount of explosives he'd need, what pistol would set them off, and how to buy a phone without having to give identifying information, and more. The Las Vegas sheriff called AI a game changer in his work. But ChatGPT developer OpenAI says it only wants to see artificial intelligence used responsibly. And in this case, an OpenAI spokesperson says ChatGPT only responded with information already publicly available on the internet and also gave warnings against any harmful activities. Besides that AI development, authorities also gave new information about what caused the explosion. They say the suspect poured racing fuel onto the cybertruck, As far as what detonated it, they say it could have been the muzzle flash from the gun he used to shoot himself. The FBI has already said investigators believe the whole incident was likely a suicide. The investigation continues. So next time you buy a smart device, you might notice a new label on it meant to help you pick something secure. The White House says the U.S. is rolling out a new program to give certain internet-connected products a CyberTrust label, sort of like the Energy Star labels used on environmentally friendly appliances. You could find the CyberTrust mark on devices like home security cameras, routers, baby monitors, fitness trackers, TVs, refrigerators, and more things that are frequently hacked, but not computers and smartphones. Of course, no company can guarantee their devices will never be hacked, but they can meet certain standards. For products to display the new mark, they'll have to prove they properly protect user data, have the ability to accept software updates, and more. Labeled products are expected to be on store shelves this year. More news is still coming up, but first, thanks to our sponsor, Honeylove. I'm a fan of Honeylove for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, their products are great. Shapewear that is designed to move with you, no rolling up and down while you're trying to hit the dance floor or even just walk around. And I actually like the design of this shapewear. Honeylove shapewear is perfect for any special event. And you know I love their leggings, too, for my everyday wardrobe. Great fabric, convenient pockets, perfect waist support and fit. But there's also the company that I appreciate. It's a female-founded brand designed by women who actually wear the products to know they're good. And their messaging and products are always inclusive of different types of bodies. So treat yourself to the best bras, shapewear, and leggings on the market. Save 20% off Honeylove at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/newsworthy to find your perfect fit. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you've heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. Elevate your comfort, elevate your style with Honeylove. Now, back to the news. Meta is shutting down its fact-checking program for the popular apps Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And that means no more third-party fact-checkers. Instead, Meta will rely on users to add notes to posts that might include misleading information, much like community notes on X. The company will continue to target illegal activity, but that won't extend to what people can and cannot say. This steers the company away from efforts it started years ago when users and advertisers complained about abusive content and misinformation. But that effort sparked different backlash, mostly from conservatives who have said fact-checking programs are forms of censorship. In his announcement this week, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg specifically said the recent elections, quote, feel like a cultural tipping point. And he said fact-checkers have become too politically biased. So he described the change as the company's way to restore free expression. Now, some experts believe this could cause more false and hateful content, eventually steering users toward other platforms instead. Others say the average user might not even notice the difference. Several of the world's biggest banks have left a climate alliance in the last month. America's biggest lender, JPMorgan Chase, just became the latest major institution to leave the Net Zero Banking Alliance, aka the NZBA. It joins Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and others in leaving the NZBA. The NZBA started in April of 2021, and it was convened by the United Nations. Member banks agreed to make investment and lending decisions based on the goal of reaching net zero greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2050. But reports on the bank's departures say they were worried about pressure from the incoming Trump administration, citing criticism from some conservative circles of so-called woke investing. So now, many of the banks that left have said they plan to pursue their own climate-based strategies instead. Unpaid medical bills will no longer put a dent into your credit score. And that's because of new rules from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that keeps medical debt from being reported to credit agencies. The CFPB's final rule means $49 billion in medical debt will be taken off 15 million Americans' credit reports. All that said, this could be undone by the incoming Trump administration. Experts also say the rules will likely face legal challenges. And even though medical debt will no longer show up on credit reports, the bills still have to be paid by those who owe them. The biggest tech trade show of the year is in full steam. And that means big-name companies and tech startups have started showing off their latest and greatest gadgets and advances. So far, exhibitors have debuted things like an electric vehicle wrapped in solar panels so it recharges as you drive. There's also a smart planter that keeps up with whatever plant you put in it and tells you what it needs. There's a robot vacuum that goes way beyond picking up dust and hair. It can actually recognize things like laundry, shoes, and trash and put them where you want them. plus a TV that uses suction cups to stick to the wall and runs off batteries, a smart mirror that gives you a whole health screening, a hologram machine that puts your likeness into a little box, and a whole lot more. Granted, not all of it is available for purchase just yet, and some might not even make it out of the concept phase. But the idea is to give us a glimpse of what's possible and what to expect in the future. CES 2025 continues through Friday. A brand new era of professional golf started last night, and it didn't happen on a golf course. The Golf League, or TGL, began its 15-match season at a massive indoor center in Florida. Golf legends Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy started the league, saying they wanted to reimagine the sport. Instead of a traditional course, contestants hit balls into a gigantic simulation screen. Then for shorter shots, they putt and chip into real holes that have changeable features like hills. And it's a team game with 6 teams of 4 players competing in the inaugural season. The virtual setup also means one of the holes can be set on unusual surfaces like an active volcano or the edge of a cliff. Other non-traditional elements include trash talk and timeouts. And the winning team collects $9 million at the end of the season in March. Last night, the Bay Golf Club beat the New York Golf Club. All matches will air on ESPN and ESPN+. And that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Quince. Maybe you're done giving gifts to other people in your life from the holiday season, but what about giving to yourself this new year? Thanks to Quince, you can get quality, luxurious items at an affordable price, so no need to feel guilty about it. This time of year is perfect to get yourself an iconic Mongolian cashmere sweater, which starts at just $50, or check out their washable silk items. I adore my washable silk tank from Quince, and that I don't need to go to the dry cleaner after wearing it. They also have beautiful jewelry, leather handbags, luggage, and more. I was just checking out their amazing coat options too if you still need a new one for winter. And whatever you're looking for, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They're able to do that by partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to you. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so treat yourself this winter without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/newsworthy for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/newsworthy to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. So for decades, people have gone to college to become doctors, lawyers, accountants, and other skilled professions. One new one to add to that list, social media influencer. Colleges around the U.S., including major state universities, have now started offering influencer classes. Some even let students major in social media influencing. And these classes aren't just about posing for pictures. They include topics like developing strategy, spotting misinformation, signing business deals, communicating with large audiences, and handling harassment. Plus, they get into all the legal, financial, and PR pitfalls to avoid. Professors behind some of these courses acknowledge many people don't see what they do as real work, even though it can be labor-intensive. And there's an ongoing debate about whether influencers need a formal education and whether universities should be investing in the subject. But supporters say it should be treated just like traditional media. And as long as influencing is a multi-billion-dollar industry and growing, it should be done right. Well, thank you so much for listening today and for sharing the show if you enjoy it. We'll be back tomorrow with more news to know. Until then, have a great day.